Welcome back to the podcast with your host, Samantha.
And I'm Alexa, and we're here to light up your life.
Today, we're joined by Erica Carrico, a soul business success coach who helps women turn their pain into purpose and build 6 and 7 figure soul aligned businesses. After overcoming cancer and divorce, Erica built a multi-million-dollar coaching business while raising 2 kids. And now she's on a mission to help others do the same.
Erica, welcome to the show. And how magical is that we're having this conversation on 8/8, which is the Lionsgate portal. I just realized that
Yeah.
too. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, this is going to be such a great conversation, and we can't wait to get into it. So, again, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
All right, so jumping in, I know that you turned cancer and divorce into a catalyst for change. What does that awakening look like for you?
Oh my goodness. Well, for me, I was always that person that knew I wanted to have a little bit of an untraditional life. I didn't ever really see myself in corporate, and I didn't know if I saw myself getting married. And so I did things my own way in my 20s, and I traveled a lot, and I worked, really fun jobs, and I kept my free spirit until I didn't. I think most of us at some point, society expectations, they catch up to us, and family expectations come up to us, and it's like, well, you have to have a real job, and you need to start earning money, and if you're going to start a family, you have to have health insurance, and you need to pay your mortgage or your rent or whatever. And so I fell, like most people, into a job that was quote unquote safe. And I guess a few years later, fast forward probably 5 or 6 years later, just ended up completely how I did not want to end up. I was really depressed. I was totally anxious. I felt like my life didn't have any meaning anymore. It didn't have a purpose. I was just earning millions of dollars for a company that had millions of dollars. And I was waking up every day just really like, what am I doing? And I knew my life was meant for so much more. And I knew that I wasn't following my heart. I knew that I wasn't following my soul. And, I think our bodies give us whispers, and our bodies give us little signs when we're out of alignment and off track. And I don't ever seem to listen to them until I get hit over the head by a 2x4.
Okay.
And so I did. I was 36 years old, and I had a baby that I was breastfeeding and a toddler, and my marriage was falling apart. I was miserable in my career, and I was diagnosed with kidney cancer. And that was, for me, actually, I was just talking about this to a client. The irony is cancer was something that I was the most fearful of. And people have asked me over the years, do you think you manifested it because you were so afraid of it? And I actually don't think that I did, because I wasn't putting any energy into that. It wasn't even in my realm of existence, but it was like the one thing that was going to make me change my life in all the ways that I did. It was like I didn't have a choice. When you're faced with the fact that you might die, I just kind of made this promise to, God or the universe or source or whatever it is that you want to call it, that no matter how long I do have left, I will be living in full alignment. I will be doing what I feel I'm put on earth to do. I will be sharing my original medicine, and I will be of service, whether I have 6 months left or whether I have 30 years left. And here we are 8 years later, still here. And now, yeah, I have a multi-million dollar company that impacts women all around the world. And it's, yeah, not only changed my life, but lots of women as well.
That's amazing. And you're cancer free now, is that right?
Yes, I'm cancer free. I have been since 2016. I kind of had this thing where it was like, my doctors told me that it was a fluke, and they had never actually seen kidney cancer in a woman my age. And I was sitting in the doctor's office I had to go to see a urologist. And so in the waiting room, it was me with all these 90-year-old men, and it was like, what am I doing here? Why did my body create this? And they kept telling me it was just a fluke. But I actually made things worse for me. I felt worse. Like, I needed to know why my body did this. And so I really took a natural, sort of a holistic healing journey. And I knew if my body created this, if I didn't change the root cause of why my body created this, it was just going to recreate it. Like, I could have the surgery, but I just knew it was going to come back. And so I did not do chemo or radiation, but I took, like I said, a spiritual, emotional, a physical healing journey. And yeah, so far we're good. So far, so good.
Wow, that's so amazing. And congratulations on being cancer free and
Thank
doing
you.
it in a way that feels completely in alignment with you. So, I do want to ask, what does divine redirection mean to you in your own life?
I've done that a million times. And for me, I think a lot of people do it then they're at their own pace. For me, I tend to blow everything up. So, after cancer, I started my business. I quit my job. I moved states. I left my marriage. I moved out of my family home. I just rebuilt everything from the ground up. And it was like intentionally, I guess I blew up my life. I feel like I threw a grenade in my life. I quit almost everything, and all the pieces were kind of floating in the air. And I was just waiting to see where everything was going to land. And for me, it was really about everything that was going to come back into my life, from relationships to clients to the way that I was doing business to my team members to even things that are in my home. Everything in my life now is here because it is intentionally placed here, and it feels in alignment with me and who I am and what I'm here to do with the world, right? So it's like letting go of everything that is not a hell yes and really replacing it with everything that is. And it means losing a lot. I've lost a lot over the years, but what I've been able to put back in its place is just so much more rich and beautiful, and honestly more abundant than anything I ever could have dreamed of before.
Erica, I know that sometimes things need to fall apart completely before we can rebuild them the right way. And so it sounds like that's exactly what happened to you. How did your healing journey shape the business that you've built today?
That's such a good question. I love that question. A lot of women who come to work with me are recovering from something. They may be going through a divorce, or they might be recovering or even in the middle of a health crisis. And I personally think that starting my business and really being able to tap into my own gifts and figure out what my purpose is and how I want to express it was such a part of my healing journey that, not only did doing my work really help to heal my body, but I feel like my business was birthed from such a raw, real, aligned way. I think when you're facing death, it's like you're doing everything for all the right reasons. There's no ulterior motive. I think when you're in that kind of a place building a business, there's no ego. It's literally just full surrender and full divine guidance. And I think that the most beautiful, soulful businesses can be built from that really raw, vulnerable place. I don't think that my business would be where it is today if I had started it at any other time, in all honesty.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think your pain drives your purpose in life. And you had so many circumstances and things that you went through that really made you think, okay, I don't know how much time I have left here, but what can I do to make a really profound impact on the world? For anyone listening to this that is anchored in their old life, I know that I've been through this myself and I'm still going through that now. Letting your old identity go and not fully stepping into who you truly are. Like, what did that look like for you? How did you detach from the old you to build this empire that you do have today?
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy. And it's like we resist so much, we resist and we cling. And oh my gosh, I clinged for so long. I did things in phases. So I started my business while I was working my full time job. And so, my business was being built at night. And then once my business kind of got to the point where it was replacing my income, I was able to leave my job. So I did it in stages. And then it took me another couple of years to leave my marriage. I didn't want to be a part-time mom and have to see my kids half the time. 50-50 is a natural, like it's just automatic here in Colorado. And it took me a lot of years to really grieve that also. So I did things in phases, but also I have done it very quickly as well. And I think it just comes down to you and what your willingness to tolerate is. I think we get to this point where we just can't tolerate the situation that we're in anymore. And it's like our soul or our body just kind of takes over and we start making decisions that we're not really thinking through. It's like we're making these decisions and our body's kind of making the decisions for us, and we're seeing things happen. So yeah, I think there's people, I see people do it in small, short phases, and I see people do them over periods of time. And there's no right or wrong way, really. I think I think it's really up to each person in their own individual journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that you take your experience and you teach other women to create soul aligned 6 to 7 figure businesses. Where does someone even start with that?
Well, first you have to know what business you want to start, right? So I think there's finding that clarity first. So once somebody knows and they have an idea, then they can come into my program, Soul Business Accelerator. And that's where we work with them to get really clear on who their ideal client is, who is it that they want to actually serve, what is the work that they want to do with their clients, right? So, what is that transformation that they're creating with their clients? And then we help them to market it and put it out there in the world, and so that their ideal clients can come and find them. We do it without social media too. So it's a little bit different. We help people build their businesses off social media and with like no ads and no funnels. So we take a little bit of a different approach.
I think that's beautiful. I love that answer. What do you think the difference is between someone chasing money and then attracting abundance through their purpose?
That's a great question. I think when you're aligned, I tell people this all the time. And I guess that's why my program is called Soul Business Accelerator, because I've seen so many people over the years try to start businesses that just for the sake of money, right? They try and start businesses for the sake of money. They try and, like you said, they're chasing money. And I've just seen those either not get off the ground or eventually they fall apart, right? That person will hit the roadblocks, they'll hit the challenges, and they'll give up and they'll quit. And I think when you're building a business that is aligned with your purpose and you know it's a part of your original medicine and the work that you're here to bring, when you hit those challenges, you're so much more likely to get back up and you're so much more likely to keep going because you know this is why I'm here. There is no plan B, right? Like I have to make this work because this is why I'm here. So it definitely gives you that. I think purpose trumps motivation and it gives you that desire. And when you're really in alignment with your purpose, and I've seen this not only with myself and my own business, but thousands of my clients' businesses as well, it's like the golden ticket when you're really in alignment with what you love to do, what you're naturally good at, and you're combining those things to then create value in the world. That's when the abundance comes, That's really when the abundance comes, not when you're trying to push and force and make something work that's not meant to work. It really comes when you just are here doing your work and you're loving it, and the clients and the money just flow naturally.
So I'm really curious. I know that you experience working with so many of these clients and individuals. How do you know when this is something that you're meant to do? Like, how do you know that this is your purpose? So, from your own personal experience, and then when you've seen that passion, I guess, in others.
Yeah, so a couple of answers, I suppose. I created a process that is now my book. I don't know if you all know about my book, but it's called Awaken Your Purpose. And the process of getting clarity is in there. So it's like a very soulful start of the process is like really healing a lot of what needs to be healed, tapping back into yourself, remembering who you are, not figuring out who you are, but really remembering who you are. And then the second half of the process is taking you through getting clear on what possible options are here that will, allow you to live your purpose and also the lifestyle that you want to live too. So it's almost like a career coaching process where I take people through, they research different options, they get really clear on what possible businesses, are aligned with their purpose using this really cool like outline and spreadsheet that I have. And so once they find that clarity, I think that you're following your intuition, you're following those breadcrumbs. Things feel like a yes. You feel excited about them. You feel probably a little bit fearful, but you just have this inner knowing of this is the way that I'm supposed to be going. And I think anytime someone hits a roadblock, not necessarily fear because you're doing something different, but if your intuition is telling you this isn't right, it's really important to listen to that and sort of course correct. And it might not even be course correcting your whole business, but it could be course correcting your marketing, or it could be course correcting the exact, who your ideal client is. So there's small adjustments and then I think those bigger adjustments also that people have to pay attention to and make.
Yeah, I think this is a really important topic to talk about because I find so many people who have went through a spiritual journey, myself, and I know Alexa, it's a lot of unbecoming what we were conditioned to believe by society. And so it's trying to figure out, okay, who am I in this world before everyone told me who I had to be, right? And so for anyone that is stuck in the 9 to 5 mindset, how do they switch to one of spiritual entrepreneurship?
I think that's a shift that doesn't happen overnight either. It certainly didn't for me. Like I said, I worked my full-time job, the first year that I was starting my business, and most of my clients do the same. And I really think that it's something that you should ease yourself into because of a couple of things. I've seen a lot of people in my program have actually quit their jobs and they're trying to start their business with no money coming in, and they start to panic and they come from a place of fear and scarcity and lack, and it actually doesn't do them any good. So a lot of times I tell them, go back and get a job and build this on the side so that you can ease your way into it. Start getting traction in your business, start easing into the life of being an entrepreneur, start learning how it feels, start building that entrepreneurial muscle. And then when you have consistency in your business and you have some income coming in, then it's okay, I feel, to actually leave your job and step full time into. But anytime someone's done it and they come from a place of fear, it's never a good thing inside of their business. So I think it's better to ease your way in than just fully jumping with 2 feet?
Yeah, I hear stories of people just completely jumping in and it being an amazing experience. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish that I can do that, right? I wish that I had so much courage to do that. But at the same time, as a mom, you need that safety and be able to transition. Like, like your advice coming from a place where you can be confident in what you're doing and still have that safety net as a woman, as a mom, as a wife, or just feeling a little bit better about that. So I know that you've built a multi-million dollar brand while raising 2 kids. So how did you manage all that? And, what was your mindset, and how did you figure out the logistics?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, I think again, it didn't happen overnight, right? So my business really blew up in 2020. So during COVID, I started getting a lot of media attention. I started winning a lot of awards, and then Forbes reached out, New York Times reached out, and it actually grew outside of my skill set, right? And it's the whole irony. This is kind of this is like a cosmic joke, right? This last summer, so about a year ago, I had a team that I had always wanted. We were earning like 150 to $200,000 a month, and things were flying, and everything seemed like it was working. And it was this I literally was unhappy. I was like, this is not what I want to be doing. And I found myself, um, really as like the CEO of this company. And I felt like I was managing people and I was worrying about cash flow and I was dealing with the war between sales and marketing. And it was like, wow, I have this business that teaches people to live their life in alignment. And I didn't think that it was actually possible to be in your own business and out of alignment. It was like this whole wake up call for me. So for me, it's really been learning how to manage the growth and manage the clients and manage the team while staying in alignment, right? So I actually had to like burn things down. I had to let go of a lot of my team members. I had to shut off my marketing for a while. I had to take a couple of months to really reconnect back to my own purpose and actually do the work that was in my book and figure out, how I wanted to course correct. And that's something that I've been doing now. So it's not, I'm still learning. I'm always learning as I go. It's literally taking it one step at a time. And I think the best advice that I've learned is making sure that when you feel like something's out of alignment, course correct before it gets way out of control. I just let it get so big and so out there, and everybody was running the business for me, and it just became this monster that I felt very out of control of. And I'm a single mom. I was trying to run a business, run a company, run a team, be a mom to my kids, and it was too much. I hit burnout. So I think, for me even now, it's a case of what is in alignment and how do I need to course correct to make sure that I'm always staying in alignment. It happens at all stages for sure.
I think that's really courageous of you to actually open up about that, because a lot of people will try to hide it and promote their business and say that they're in alignment with what they're doing, but behind the scenes they're feeling completely lost. They're not on their trajectory, they're not focused on their why essentially. But we're all human, and I think being authentic has probably created a really successful business for you because people feel your authenticity and they know the struggle that you've been through. So, what do you think is one belief that you had to completely let go of to grow?
That I think the one thing that I had to let go of to grow was that successful people had something that I didn't, right? Like they were lucky, or it happened for them, but it won't happen for me. I had to let go of that there really is truly nothing different about me than there is about people who have had success and do create impact and have created real wealth. I think it's really a case of resilience and perseverance. And I look at those people and myself now, and it's like the only reason that I'm still here is because every time I have failed, I've just gotten back up. I fail a lot and I get back up and I fail a lot and I get back up and I just keep going. And that's one of the things is there's so many people who look at me now and they say, well, she's just lucky or she created this because of X, Y, and Z. And it's like, no, actually, no. If you saw how many times behind the scenes things have fallen apart and I have crumbled and tears that I have cried and the difference is that I just keep going and I keep course correcting and I keep realigning and I keep knowing that I'm here to do this work and I'm here living my purpose. And so I think truly the difference between people who really make it and those who don't is just we keep going. We persevere.
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful message. What legacy do you hope to leave through your coaching and just through your overall story?
Yeah, I really want to be able to impact 1 million women around the world to fully be living in alignment with their purpose. And through all of us out there really sharing our medicine with the world and doing the work that we're here to do. I mean, how talk about how we can raise the level of consciousness of humanity. That to me is the legacy that I really hope to leave.
You're doing it. You're living proof of that. That's incredible. For women listening to this who knows that she's meant for more, but really feels paralyzed by fear or things that they've been through in their life, what would you say to her?
The fear will probably always be there. I don't think that, I mean, even now, I'm doing things in my business that scare me and I'm afraid. And it's not about doing things without fear, trying to even overcome the fear. It's knowing that the fear probably will be there and just making sure that it's like sitting in the back seat. It's not in the driver's seat. And for a while it was in the passenger seat, but now I'm like, you can just sit back there. So fear is not necessarily a bad thing. And if you're not doing something that scares you, you're probably not doing something big enough. And so for me, it's learning how to have the fear be there and do things anyway, but just not letting it take control. So getting comfortable, I guess, with being uncomfortable is really what my motto has been all these years.
Oh my gosh, that's such amazing advice. And we really want to know, so what is next for you? You're doing so many amazing things now, but where are you looking to make a bigger or different impact in the future?
Yeah, my right now it's just all about my book and I just want my book to get out there and I really want women to read that and start reconnecting with themselves and start waking up and taking their own spiritual journeys and for me it's really about impacting people in that kind of a way.
Yeah, we'll definitely link your book in the show notes for everyone to grab a copy of it.
Amazing. Thank you for that.
All right. So to wrap it up, we would love to do a this or that challenge. So no overthinking allowed. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So intuition or strategy?
Intuition.
Ooh, love it.
Bali or Paris?
Ooh, Bali for sure.
Boho vibes.
Yes, definitely.
Morning journaling or evening meditation?
Evening meditation.
Spiritual download or business blueprint?
Spiritual download, girl.
I knew you were going to say that.
I think you called it soulmate clients or big brand deals.
Soulmate clients for
Oh, I
sure.
love that.
Divine timing or hustle hard?
No, divine timing.
Cacao ceremonies or spicy margaritas with the girls.
No, I'm a no drinker, so I'm all about the cacao. Actually, I have cacao every single morning and it's here in my cup. Yep.
You have to give us the recipe. Please share.
Yes, I will. Yeah, it's so yummy.
Well, this has been such an amazing episode, Erica. Thank you so much for being on. You added so much value to our listeners. And for anyone who wants to connect with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, everything's on my website. So ericacarrico.com. The book is on there. My courses are on there. There's a bunch of free resources on there. My social medias are all linked to that as well. We're on Instagram, YouTube, all the places.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And we're sending all of our listeners so much love and light.